morning and welcome to Sports Betting Illuminated, where we play with the house, not against it. I'm your host, Ariel Calista, author of Sports Betting Illuminated, an AI-powered path to profit. Hello, Brian. So nice seeing you here this morning. It is a great day to win some wagers, and a big shout out to DJ Ray for joining the chat early and dropping my Substack, dropping all of my links so that you could join the free daily report. That's where you get my free daily emails, where I cover all these games, cover the line movements, what's going on there. My picks of the day have definitely been on fire, and it's just a lot of fun. Plus you get pictures of me every day, so much more. Make sure to sign up, join, give the stream a thumbs up if you haven't already, and let's win some wagers today. Hey, Super James, good morning. So I'm sure you're wondering, what is my Halloween costume for today? I am Maxine Minx, so I had to pull off the outfit from the movies, the trilogy. So this is definitely my look. Like, when she goes to Hollywood side, she's gonna be a star, and she will not accept life she does not deserve. So that is my little outfit for today. Film this Maxine Minx vibes with the blue eyeshadow, everything. I'm loving the look. Good morning, Derek. How are you doing today? Yeah, I love it. Look, had to add in some fake blood too, so yeah, you'll see that on the show. It is fake, not real. So how's everyone doing this morning? How have your wagers been doing? How's everything been going? Weekend going good? All right, let's just double check into our ROIs. Hello, Tyler. Good morning. And Chuck Science. Never heard of that movie. Well, it's 3 movies. 3 movies, Maxine. And yeah, I had to be the 3rd character in a trilogy here, so I like it. It's fun. It's a little bit of a horror film, but actually, yeah, they're all horror films, but yeah, it's good. It's good. I like watching scary things sometimes. All right, so we are still waking up. We are going to be waking and baking a little bit, but before we do that, let's just cover our current ROIs. So, getting started with hockey. So we're currently sitting at an 18.6% ROI on a 57.1% win rate. So we're gonna bring this up. We're gonna improve it. It's only 14 units we played so far. NBA though, we've been pretty much killing with a 47.4% ROI on a 76.9% win rate on 13 units. So we're just getting started here. Let's see how the rest of the season shakes up. In the NFL, we're sitting at a 22% ROI with a 61.1% win rate. College football, 61.5% win rate, and with a 21.3% ROI. And Major League Baseball still sitting at 47.9% ROI with a 69.6% win rate. So that is just how we're doing so far. Good morning, Spencer. Welcome in. Yeah, that's how we're doing so far this season. So yeah, pretty good overall, and the ROIs are looking solid. So I am going to be starting my morning off with some AC/DC. This strain has a lot of CBD in it, so it's really good. Like, just even more CBD than THC. It doesn't have a lot of THC in it. So this is just a CBD prominent strain. Which is really good for, starting your day off right. If you don't want to get too high in the morning, too couch locked, like you just want to feel clear-headed, keep your day rolling. And that's what we're doing this beautiful Sunday. And we are going to win some wagers. Woo. Got me coughing just a little bit. Alrighty, so let's start diving into the NFL. Also, we'll be listing some new cannabis products very soon on my website. I'm in a lab formulating. As you guys know, I sold the first million Delta 8 cartridges, but one of my favorite products I ever formulated, like during that time period, was the drops. So we were calling them drops, and now like every brand out there is calling them some sort of variation of that. At least to me, it feels like that. And they were just like this oil. Sometimes I put in like different natural organic flavor oils too, like blackberry lemonade, super popular. But it's just Delta 8 MCT oil. A lot of people just take MCT oil regularly, but so good. I'll have them on my website soon. All right, now that we've done some waking and bacon, let's dive into the NFL. So the earliest games start at 1 o'clock. There is, there are a few plays, at 1 o'clock that I'm looking at. So it's not every single game. This is a live stream though. So if there are games you would like me to break down and analyze a little bit more specifically, feel free to throw them in the chat. This is a live stream. We'll break them down in real time. But I am just going to go over my top games, top plays that I have, because we have a full slate today. We have NFL, hockey, we have some NBA going on. So we have a lot going on. We're going to do the NFL, start with that. We're going to do a 2-minute drill, really dive into the NBA. Some of these allegations that are going on recently, which I'm sure you've seen all over the gambling. And then we're going to be diving into the NBA and hockey after that. So that's kind of the flow of the show. I'm closing out with some interesting cannabis information, and that's kind of that. All right, let's get started. And yeah, it's going to be about cannabis and sports at the very end, so you might want to stick around for that. All right, starting off with this Bears-Ravens game. This is a 1:00 p.m. Eastern game, so it is coming up pretty soon. It is also 11:11 right now, so make a wish, everybody. All right. Bears opened up at +6, so they were pretty big underdogs, but they quickly adjusted this line. Right now, it's sitting at +2.5. So that's a pretty big movement in the right direction for the Bears. And it's been on a bit of Bears money. So this is starting to look like a little bit of an action play on the spread here, which, I think is, pretty interesting. Seeing that big movement, soon it's like they're sliding into, from being the underdogs to maybe potentially being favorites. Maybe not quite there yet, but, that was a big move on the spread. So something I like to watch out for, especially when it's that big of a move and there's the money backing it up. So I'm going to put that play in the action pile for all my action players out there. Yeah, Lamar is out. It's a big move too. Do you think there's a little bit of an overreaction going on? Hey David, welcome in. Good morning. Do you think there's a little bit of an overreaction here? Do you think the sportsbooks were right to move it out so far? I'd love to know your opinions. Now, let's look at the total of this game while I'm waiting on comments. And let me know what your thoughts are. Looking at the total here, it opened up pretty high at 49.5, but quickly dropped. So it's sitting at 45 right now on some under money, but the money is looking a little pro. It's looking a bit pro. So seeing the money, being played on the under, it's looking like pro money. Vegas is moving this line in the right direction. Plus, that's a pretty big 4.5 point drop, what I'm saying, on this total. So the under is looking more and more appealing. I'm gonna not even put this in the action pile. I'm gonna put this in the play pile. I like it a lot. So you're still taking the Ravens today. All right. Well, let's see how this goes. Looking at this Giants-Eagles game, this is at 1:00 p.m. Eastern. So the Giants are going from, the spread opened up at plus 10.5 and it started moving pretty fast, moved to plus 7 on some mixed pro money. You know, it's sitting at plus 7.5 right now, and it's sitting there on mixed money. So another move to watch. It does seem like all of these underdog lines are, you know, moving a lot. So maybe another potential underdog spot. I would put this in the action pile as well. I like seeing early pro money here. I mean, to me, that's why this stood out in particular. But, you know, also, I mean, it's, you know, it's the Eagles. They're good, and they're feeling really determined right now. I mean, you can see the team spirit across town. Nobody wants another Eagles loss. Nobody wants that. All right, now let's move into some of the later games, like at 4 o'clock. And let's break down this Bucks-Saints game. So this is at 4:05 p.m. Eastern today. So, you know, we still have a few hours to really see like what happens here. I have been watching this New Orleans spread. Now, it also moved from plus 5.5 to plus 4.5 on some mixed pro money. Then it's moved even further to plus 3.5. Now, there is a little bit of money on the Bucks, but there are some sharps on the Saints. I don't know. This one, you know, I'm watching the line. I'm seeing what's happening here, but it hasn't quite moved into the level of an action play for me at this very moment. I would like to see what happens a little bit, you know, further down the line. You know, see if this develops even more. The money is pretty mixed right now, and seeing that there's a little bit of sharp money on both sides, it's, you know, I mean, really the sharps are on the Saints here. I don't know. This is interesting. This is just one of those games that I would say keep your eye on, and let's see what happens. You know, this line could move out further. I will be putting out the daily report after the show, so make sure to sign up if you haven't already. Tell your friends, tell your family, put them on the daily report. Get them some winners. Seriously, nothing scarier this Halloween than missing out on some winners. Alrighty, now let's take a look at this Cowboys-Broncos game. This is at 4:25 p.m. today, and I have been loving this over. It opened up at 47.5. and it's since gone up to 50.5, and now it's sitting even at 51.5. So the total is just risen, and it's risen on some mixed money initially, but right now there are a lot of pros, heavy pro action on the over in this game. So looks like there's going to be a lot of points tonight in this Cowboys-Broncos game. A lot of points. So I like to see that happen. Yeah, I like this over. I wouldn't even put this in the action pile. I would put this in like I love this pile. It's looking like a good solid overplay. I know we've been looking at some unders, some, you know, some different lines, a lot of spreads as well, but this is the one spot where I think there's just going to be a lot of points, so we'll see what happens here. Then, looking at the Titans versus Colts, this is a 4 o'clock game as well, and I've been watching this spread. Wow, I mean, the Colts opened up at -3.5, moved all the way out to -14 on mixed money, then -14.5, sitting at -15 right now, even beyond in some spots. And I'm seeing a lot of Joes starting to come in at -15, so that did scare me off this spread a bit. Even though it has moved out in the right direction, this is just a little bit too much Joe money right here. So I'm staying away from it for now, but I am looking at the total. It opened up at 44.5, has since risen to 47 on some over money, and right now it's pretty mixed. went to 47.5 on some mixed money, but the money just kept kind of pouring in on the over. So Vegas, increased the number once again to 48. And right now there are some pros taking over. So I like seeing some of the pro money starting to come in. Yeah, it is looking really good. So yeah, I would say for an action play, this over in this Titans Colts game is looking good. I'd put this play into the action pile. And yeah, still looking pretty solid. So just one more line in the NFL. Of course, feel free to throw out anything else you would like me to break down and analyze. This is a live stream. I'm looking at the Monday night game between the Commanders and the Chiefs. This is an 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern game, and the Chiefs spread opened up at -9.5. Went out to -12.5, pulled back a little bit to -12, and then pulled back a little bit further to -11.5 with some Chiefs money. And yes, there was a little bit of pro money coming in on the Chiefs, but just considering how much is like pushed out and then went back, scares me a little bit. So, at this moment, I don't have a play in this game, but I am keeping my eye on this. Hey, Super Pro, welcome in. Yeah, keeping my eye on this at this moment. We'll see what happens here. So, keeping our eye on this one. Now, let's talk about the NBA. I'm sure you saw on the Daily Report yesterday what's been going on in the NBA. I mean, there were major crime, mob families mentioned in this, FBI. Yeah, I mean, there's all these gambling allegations going on. All right, so here's the deal. They're basically saying that, insiders in the NBA are providing non-public information to certain people, and several people got tied into this. Chauncey Billups, Damon Jones, Terry Rozier, and many others. So it lists 7 specific NBA games from 2023 to 2024 that were targets in this game. And a lot of people are saying out there, thanks, Super Pro. I'm doing the Maxine Minks look today. So a lot of people are saying, okay, well, is this happening in the NFL? This has got to be happening everywhere. Now, all the games are fixed. Everybody is trading insider information. And I know it is easy to jump to those conclusions. I know there's probably a lot of people out there here in the audience, talking about this right now as well. Because it has been... Yeah, I mean, we've heard about these gambling allegations for a while in basketball, and one of the things that I personally think is that it's a little bit easier to cheat, in like college games and in the NBA versus the NFL. Of course, there are studies showing that different things are happening, where maybe the refs favor, like we saw on the Daily Report, like the refs maybe favor Chiefs just a little bit more, but it's not a real gambling allegation. It's just, a study over time where they're saying, well, maybe, it does. You really have to start looking at the numbers, but you have to remember this doesn't apply to everything across all sports. It's a lot harder to cheat in the NFL. I'm not going to be the one going out there saying all of the NFL games, all the games are rigged now, because that's just not the case. But, I think with props especially, it is really easy to cheat when it comes to these props. I think that is, just one of those things. Like when it comes to gambling, it's they make it easy to cheat with the props because it's a lot easier to not do something than it is to do something. And, then you start having all this insider information going on. Yeah, I bet college is a mess as well. Especially because you have all these boosters coming in with all of this money, and the coaches, they know what these they gotta know what the spreads look like. I mean, things like that where, you know, I mean, I've had plenty of people tell me, hey, they did this and it just didn't seem to make sense during the game. Like, why would they do that? And, you know, I mean, when you start having the influence of all of this money pouring in, that's really where things get a little bit shaky. And, you know, it's it's unfortunate because it does make a lot of people question the integrity of every single game. But, you know, I mean, we really do need transparency. And one of the good things about AI and like as these machine learning models are getting better and better is like, you know, they're able, you know, like neural networks, they're able to spot like all of these cases and even predict, you know, who will potentially, you know, cause problems like this in the future. So it is, you know, definitely one of those things where, of course, there is the insider sports manipulation, prop wagers, performance, things like that. But also tied into this whole allegation thing is basically these underground poker games where, you know, they have some real organized crime elements where they're like reading the cards underneath the table and all kinds of things. They have specialized shuffling machines so they know who's going to win. So there's that element as well that are, you know, where they're getting involved with, you know, celebrities, these NBA players, coaches, people like that, and then pulling them into these, you know, rigged poker games, these rigged high stakes poker games. That's why you always say AI is a good backup tool to have. You know what? I mean, it is. It is. The news was that the books knew almost instantly. It was covered up by the NBA. And I mean, that's the thing, is like the books, like they can spot these kinds of things. I mean, that's the thing, is like, you know, you're taking computers whose like one task is to, you know, like learn, you know, and they're using like, you know, real data, and they're also using probably a lot of artificial data to simulate these games and the players and all of it. And, you know, I mean, it's not like they aren't also, you know, wearing RFID chips and have all of this stuff sending 60 times a second signals to these data capturing devices. So it's like they know if the player is actually like fatigued or if they're just faking it. So the books do know this kind of stuff. But we can't have the NBA covering it up. We can't have anyone covering it up and trying to protect these players, because that's just not okay. And it makes everyone question the integrity of the game. And, you know, I mean, when you start understanding like these models and how they work, and, you know, how they get penalized for, you know, making mistakes, but they quickly learn, you know, to detect all these anomalies. I mean, AI is good at that. It is better than we think it is. You know, once they really have these models nailed down. So let's talk about the NBA, because of course, you know, I mean, I know we're all worried about rigged games, but we've been doing really well this season, and so far, I mean, we have a good ROI. So let's just keep that going, because, you know, a lot of people out there are trying to go out and give their best performance. They're not trying to, you know, fake it or, you know, give out insider information. A lot of people out there have worked and trained their entire lives to get into the NBA. So I think it's just important to start preserving the integrity of the sport and making sure that, you know, this just doesn't happen again. And, you know, when you see something, like, say something. Don't just let people sweep this under the rug. All right. Hornets versus Wizards. Let's look at this game tonight at 6 o'clock in the NBA. I have been loving this over. It opened up at 235.5, has since gone to 238.5 with level 4 money on the over. So that's a lot of money on the over. The total has gone in the right direction as well with all the money, and yeah, I like this. I like this total. I think it's yeah, looking pretty good here. I like the over. Very solid. I would lock that in right away. Early play. All right, and then looking at this Pacers Timberwolves game. This is at 7 o'clock tonight, and this Timberwolves spread opened up at minus 10.5, has since moved to minus 12.5 on some mixed pro money. So seeing the pros coming in here, playing this, it is interesting. I like seeing the money coming through, so yeah, I like that. It's looking pretty good. I would say, you know, Timberwolves spread looking solid. Now, in the NHL, let's look at this. There are only two lines that I'm really tracking right now at this moment. So, one of them is an action play. The other one I'm just looking at. So the one I'm just looking at is this Rangers Flames game. It's at 8 o'clock tonight, and I've been watching the total here. It opened up under 5.5, even money, has since gone under 5.5, minus 115. So the sportsbook is moving this line. It does seem like towards the under, but there's level 1 money on the over. So it does seem like something to maybe stay away from at this moment. I don't have a play here. It's the money is going in one direction and the sportsbook is simply moving in the other direction. Now, looking at this Stars Predators game at 7 o'clock, let's look at this total because, you know, this is interesting as well. It went from over 6 minus 105 to over 5.5 minus 134 with level 1 money on the over. This is interesting. You know, there's level 1 money on the over, but the line is moving towards the under, and it seems like it's moving towards the under pretty hard. You know, with, you know, moving from minus 105 to, you know, moving a half a point lower and minus 134 on the over. This is interesting. It's a little, you know, just looking at this, it's a little shaky for sure. Hey Anthony, how are you doing? I would say, you know, maybe moving this more into the action pile, something to just keep your eye on. That Kings Blackhawks game is starting to catch some pro over. Let's take a look at that. Okay. Let me pull up what the current numbers are here and let's dive into that. Okay, so over opened up over 5.5 minus 120. Interesting. And right now it is sitting over 5.5. No, it's already moved to over 6. Over 6 minus 115. Interesting. Okay, yeah. That is moving towards the over. I like that. I like that it opened up 5.5. Now it's sitting over 6. So over 6.5 in some spots. You know what? I do see over 6.5. Yeah, you could get some plus money for the over 6.5. Yeah, it does look like there is a bit of money starting to pile in on this over here. The money does look a little bit solid, so I like this. Keep your eye on this. This is looking like it's developing into an action play. So yeah, those are all of the plays that I'm looking at right now. If there's anything else you would like me to look at, you know, feel free to throw it in the chat. I'm happy to do so. Just want to give everyone who came a little late a peek at my Maxine Minx outfit. So glad all of you made it here. Welcome into the stream if you came in late. And yeah, I had to do the little Maxine Minx look. Her going to Hollywood and becoming a star. It's such a vibe though. I kind of love it. Thanks so much for, I see all of these like emotes all over the place. Thank you so much. This is such a vibe. Yeah, I like it. how to do the blue eyeshadow, everything too. Gonna be a star. Or I love that one scene where she's just like walking out of her audition and he's like, oh, you can just go home, I just fucking nailed it. Now you've seen the Maxine scene. Thank you. Now you don't have to go watch the whole trilogy. You could just you've seen part of it. Thank you so much. Okay. All right, so let's go over all the games that I like. Then we'll go over some action plays as well. Oh no, you're still lost on Maxine? I think you just need to see the trilogy. It's good. Jenna Ortega's in the first one. Or is that the second? I don't know. I'm like, it goes in an interesting order. You could kind of watch them all independently as well, but I'm dressing like Maxine in the third movie, of course, that just came out this year, so. It's a look. I haven't seen a lot of people like pull off this look. People are usually pulling off her like look with the brown hair and the little overalls and everything, which I think is so cute as well, but as like blonde curls, like, I got this. Alright, so let's cover all of the bets that I like today, what I'm looking at, my action plays, starting in the NFL. Alright, so this total in this Bears-Ravens game, I'm loving the under here. I think this is a super solid play. And then a little bit more of an action play, I'm looking at the Bears spread. A little bit more of an action play though. Also a little bit of an action play, the Giants spread, something to keep your eye on. But it is bouncing around a little bit, but did go in the right direction. Oh no. Uh-oh. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that around here, especially like in Philadelphia. But alright. Looking at this Cowboys-Broncos game, I love this over. Super solid. I would lock it in early. Sitting over 51.5, and there's just going to be so many points today. I like it. Also for an action play, looking at the over in the Titans-Colts game. That's looking pretty good as well. Pretty big move to the over there. Then in NBA, I am looking at the over in this Hornets-Wizards game, and I have another little action play in the NBA, which is the Minnesota Timberwolves spread. And finally, moving on to the NHL, I did raise this to the level of an action play, but you know, I might reevaluate it, maybe even turn it into like a full-blown like full unit play, which is over in this Kings Blackhawks game. I do like that. Thanks for bringing that up. I love when you guys throw games into the live chat and we can just break it down on air. It's a lot of fun. And finally, looking at this Stars Predators game at 7 o'clock tonight. You know, I've been keeping my eye on this, but, you know, I'd say keep your eye on it a little bit more. It does look like the line is moving towards the under, but there is a bunch of money on the over, you know, so we'll keep our eye on this one. All right. So I did want to talk about something interesting. There has been a new poll coming out, and it's about sports fans who, you know, they're asking people about CBD and THC companies sponsoring teams. And let's see what leagues are, you know, completely or mostly, their fans are completely or mostly acceptable, you know, except cannabis companies, CBD companies in particular, to sponsor teams. So the number one who found it very acceptable for CBD companies to sponsor was MLS. 73% of the participants, you know, said it was completely or mostly acceptable for them to sponsor. UFC, 68%. Pro tennis, 64%. NHL, 62%. Pro golf, also the same percentage. NBA, it did drop a little bit to 60%. NASCAR, 56%. And the NFL and MLB are tied with 55%. So that's what the sports fans think about CBD sponsoring these teams. And what about THC companies? You know, how many people find it completely or mostly acceptable for THC companies to sponsor these teams? Well, MLS is at the top of the list once again with 69%. UFC also at the top of the list again with 60%. NHL 55%. Interesting. Tennis 53%. NASCAR same thing. NBA only 50%. I was a little bit shocked by that. I thought it would be a little bit higher, but I guess not, you know. But I mean, you know, a lot of NBA players do smoke weed, I guess. Well, CBD, yeah, I mean, it makes sense when you start looking at, you know, the acceptance rate, only 60%, even 55% of fans want CBD companies to sponsor teams in the NFL. Like, CBD, this is not THC, two very different things. Then you start looking at, you know, NFL, Major League Baseball, they're sitting at 46% of fans who think it's okay, you know, to, you know, for THC companies to sponsor these teams. And yeah, so there is that big dip there. So it does make sense why there is a little bit more resistance, as we do see like across the board. You know, NFL, Major League Baseball, those are, you know, the leagues where it is, you know, you're going to be facing a little bit more resistance than compared to MLS, where they seem like the fans are just like holding open the door, like, come on, cannabis companies, sponsor. Gronk tried in the NFL. Charlotte's Web pushing baseball. Yeah, that's true. That is true. Yeah, you know, I mean, I do feel fortunate that I'm going to be working with this company that's actually like certified safe for sports. You know, it's a CBD topical. So I'll be working with, you know, that company that has one of the very few like certifications out there. So it could be used like in baseball, different things like that. But it is interesting just seeing like, you know, because about 70% of the people in the country are very pro cannabis, pro hemp, you know, and pro marijuana. And we also see every day, like, you know, there's different studies coming out showing people are, you know, smoking more cannabis compared to, you know, smoking cigarettes anymore. You know, alcohol sales are dropping because people are switching to cannabis. These are things that are happening all the time. But I guess when it comes to sports, you know, like a lot of fans still kind of want that separation. So, yeah. Exactly. That is very true. And there aren't a lot of products like that out there certified for, you know, like sports, and having that certification is really important. It's like to the players so that they could use the products. Yes, and definitely Maxine approved. So, gonna give you a view of my outfit. That's everything for you today. I hope you enjoyed the Sports Betting Illuminated stream. I hope you enjoyed this outfit from the Maxine Minx movies, because I had to add some blood because it's kind of a horror movie. I mean, especially like. Yeah, no, all of them are. I was trying to pick out a movie. I was like, which one's the scariest? All of them? I don't know. But sometimes I enjoy scary movies, especially like October, this time of year. Halloween is the best. Hoping to go to this asylum turned haunted house later tonight, so we'll see how that goes. I can't wait. I want to get super scared. Yeah, I know that's kind of like insane, but I literally, like, when I was 12, like, I was going to the Fright Dome in Vegas like every year. I don't know. There's something about haunted houses and getting scared that I just love. Alright, and so we do have one final Halloween outfit stream that will be on Thursday, so make sure to join me. Set your alarm clocks for 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern. It's going to be a lot of fun. Thank you so much. And yeah, definitely. This has been a blast. Good luck on all of your wagers today, everyone, and I will see you all next time. Make sure to give this stream a thumbs up on your way out, and please follow along if you haven't already. Also, subscribe to my free daily emails with all of these winners, so much more. Just click stay in touch on arielcalista.com. It's super easy. It's free. Tell your friends, tell your family. There's nothing scarier than cold streaks in the winter. So put them onto the daily report, for real. Let them know it's free. It goes out every day. Never any ads or spam or any of that BS. And also I have my Substack. Going to be putting out a new one today, so make sure to join. Just go to arielcalista.substack.com. Alright, everyone, have a wonderful winning Sunday, and yeah, I will see you all later. Good luck.